4-0 to the death, yeah, he said it. Baltimore, Bodymore, what's the difference? Sipping new bottles like I'm Patrick Brewing. Get into it, time to be a favorite nuisance. Stone cold when I'm.
Welcome back, another episode of Baltimore's #1 alcohol review show, Body More Bottles, with your host, Fonzarelli, a.k.a. Ken Whiskey Jr., a.k.a. Scotch Hall. Today we got an episode, it's a little bit outside the box, a little bit inside the box, pause. We're going to be doing some whiskeys from around the world today. So, y'all know the motto, we don't come here lollygag. Let's get straight into this body bag. Now, for me, when I first started getting into whiskeys, I did jump into the scotches. I used to like the Doors and the Johnny Walker, black or double black. That's the ones I tried, and I like those. But I just moved on into the bourbons, and I've had a few single malts, American single malts that I like. So I'm going to branch out today. We're going to go to some whiskeys outside of America, and we're going to start off with one it's a worldwide whiskey. It's outside of America, but it has some American flavor to it. Shout out to my man Rock for gifting me this bottle. We got the Grangestone Highland Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. Now the thing about this one is, first it's aged in some oak barrels, and then it's matured in some bourbon barrels. So it's something new and something familiar at the same time. 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and matured and bottled in Scotland. So, like I said, it's 40 proof, or 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. We're gonna go ahead and get ourselves a pour of this. Y'all can already see the color there. It's a little lighter. Yeah, it's a little bit light, but not too light. A little amber color, I say. It's going for the nose. You get a lot of that oak aroma coming through, the barrel basically, because like I said, it's been aged in 2 barrels. It's been aged in the oak barrel, then put into a barrel that previously had bourbon in it. So a lot of that oak is coming through. A little bit of vanilla, but you still get that Scotch aroma. Just going for the taste test. Cheers. And it tastes like a perfect blend of Scotch and bourbon, kind of like you get those little bit of that smokiness from the Scotch, but you get the vanilla flavor from the bourbon barrel, and it's sweet, it's smooth going down. Pause. Yeah, it's a little sweetness to it. Give that one a solid 3.2 body bags out of 5. That's a good Scotch. I like that one. Let me sit my mans up real quick. Pause. All right. Now, before we get into number 2, let's take a break and hear a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Truth Outfitters. Established in 2004, Truth Outfitters is an abstract, expressive clothing line. They've made a name for themselves in Baltimore by selling hand-painted, custom pieces over the years. Through its texture, look, and wit, their clothing line visually reflects the beauties and ironies of life itself from their own perspective. Truth Outfitters is designed at a street level to meet you where you are honestly and push you forward, styled in a dope look. Now, in their 17th year, Truth continues to create products that convey their unadulterated truth and ultimately challenge you in the voice of your own style. Follow them at Truth Outfitters on Instagram or go on their website, truthoutfittersapparel.com, to cop some dope garments. Where art, fashion, and honesty meet, you get truth. And make sure you put that truth in all caps. Up next, we have hailing from Ireland, Flocky. If anybody know how to pronounce that properly, shoot me a message, let me know. But we're just gonna say Floki. Icelandic single malt whiskey. This one is the birch finish. Now, I didn't know much about this bottle aside the fact that it came from Ireland. Shout out to my father who went to Ireland and came back with this bottle for me. But I did a little research, and because on the back it tells you that Floki single malt whiskey Icelandic birch finish is matured in American oak and finished in Icelandic birch, and distilled from Icelandic barley, 3 years old. So what they do is for 3 years they put this in an American oak barrel, and then for 3 months after that they finish it in an Icelandic birch barrel. Now, birch is one of the most abundant trees in Iceland, so it's a natural resource to them, and that's what they make their barrels out of over there. So I guess as a paying homage to the land, they just decided they wanted to make some barrels out of their local trees and local birch trees and finish their whiskey in it. And that's what they did here. It says that it's supposed to lend notes of apple blossom, heather, and moss with a sweet taste of honey, licorice, and mint. I'm not too tough on the licorice part, but we'll see if that note comes through. And the aftertaste should leave a subtle flavor of cinnamon, nutmeg, and dried fruits. To me, that kind of sounds like a pie. So we're going to see if we get pie on the aftertaste of this. As you can see, I've been saving this bottle for this specific special occasion to let y'all know what I think of it. It's 47% alcohol by volume, so that makes it what? 94 proof. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a pour. So you can see this one is much lighter on the color. Maybe because I don't know how long I tried to do some research on this Grangestone. I couldn't see how long they kept it in the white oak barrels before they put it in the bourbon barrels and how long it stayed in there. But for this one, what are we doing right now? The Floki. For the Floki, we know that it's been aged for 3 years and 3 months. And another thing I like the shape of the bottle. But the thing I like about it is, well, first of all, you can see the single barrel bottling. But on the back, some handwritten stuff there. It tells you the barrel, the bottle that this is, the date, and you got a little signature there as some authentication. So you can tell they put a lot of time and effort into this. They're really proud of their product, I would assume. So let's go ahead and see. On the nose, well, the color is real light. Not real light, but it's lighter than the Grangestone. As you can see there, the Grangestone has more of an amber, more like bourbon. color to it. This one's a little bit more like a traditional Scotch, I would say. Kinda like a I don't know, a lighter brown. Let's just say that. But on the nose, yeah, I'm getting like a more so of like hay aroma. A little bit of the honey, I would say, maybe like a sweeter note as well, but more like a hay or like a bready, like a fresh brick bread aroma. It's going for a taste test. Cheers. I'm not getting that licorice, so I like that. I do get a little bit of the mint. What did they say? Mint on it. Yeah, it's a little sweetness from that honey. I can taste that. I can taste the mint. I'm not tasting the licorice at all. The cinnamon and nutmeg, I guess I'm not getting those two in specific, but I do get a little bit of spice. And like I said again, like that fresh baked bread is coming through as well. Maybe that's the yeast that they use. Yeah, the spices on the aftertaste a little bit. But none of that licorice, so that's a plus for me. It's something different, but I like it. I'm gonna give that a solid 3. Solid 3 flat. Let's cleanse the palate a little bit. Now we're gonna move on to our last and final whiskey of the day. From around the world, y'all might have heard of this. We got Suntory Old Whiskey. This is a Japanese whiskey. Suntory is made by, Suntory is the distillery that makes Japanese whiskey such as Toki and Hibiki, which y'all might have heard of from Drink Champs. But before Drink Champs and Nori was drinking the Hibiki, shout out to the Where's Buffy podcast. I saw them drinking Hibiki first. So shout out to them good fellows over there. The Suntory Old Whiskey. This one also came straight from Japan. I can't read none of those words on the back. All I can see is that it's 700 milliliters. And that's about it. I'm going to assume that it's 40% alcohol by volume. Let's see what's on the back of this box, because it did come in this nice box. This is a limited design bottle. In 1923, Shinjiro Tori, the founder of Suntory and the founding father of Japanese whiskey, dreamed of creating a truly Japanese whiskey blessed by riches of Japanese nature and craftsmanship. Suntory embodies, this isn't about the whiskey, this is just about Suntory. And it doesn't tell me the ABV. Yeah, not at all. So we don't need to read all that. But while I'm cracking this open, let's give a little history lesson on whiskey. Because these single malts is how whiskey was first made before the colonizers came to America and made whiskey here, which happened to turn into bourbon and rye whiskey, because they would make single malts in like Scotland and Ireland and I guess and stuff like that. But and this is a twist top. But when they came over here to America and they wanted to make whiskey, those grains that they used over in England or Scotland or wherever they came from weren't readily available here, weren't conducive to the climate. They wouldn't grow here. So they had to use what they could, they had to use what they had. And that's when they started making rye whiskeys and wheat whiskeys, and they started using corn and things of that nature and blending them together and making different types of whiskey, such as bourbon and American single malts, which are different malts that they use over in Scotland because, like I said, those malts don't grow here, or those grains don't grow here. But this Icelandic whiskey that I had, the Flocky, and this Suntory Old whiskey is basically reminiscent of the old times for whiskey. Oh man, I never put back on the music for y'all. Let's throw that back on. Yeah, it's basically reminiscent of old time whiskey because this is how it was made before they brought it to America and made it here the way that they made it here. So we can see this one's a little bit darker. This one's much darker. Well, I believe whiskey started in Scotland or whatever, and then the Japanese put their own spin on it, but it was basically the same way that they made it the same way, but with different grains, I guess, maybe. But you can see this one's a little bit darker than the Icelandic whiskey. Not much of a aroma on it. It's very light. That's like, I guess, you know how like Japanese people, they just sit and watch their events, like sporting events and stuff, and then they clap at the end. Or maybe that's why they like their whiskey not to have no nose on it. Maybe all this whiskey gonna speak in the flavor. Not really too much I can get from the nose on this one. It's going for the taste test. Cheers. Very smooth, easy drinker. It's got some light flavors, maybe some fruit. It's not like a Irish whiskey where it's like heavy peat on the peat, like real smoky, things of those nature. It's got like a very subtle sweet taste to it. I like it. It's not very flavorful, but the flavor is there. But like I said, it's very light, very subtle. I'm gonna give that one a 2.8, but it's good, and I'm gonna save this bottle. And you know, when you have some company come over, you know, you might want to pull this out to try to impress them, and especially if they not really a whiskey drinker, it might be something that could be a starter whiskey for them. You know, they taste it, then they want to go out, maybe they'll buy a bottle or something else that Suntory make it. Maybe that one might have more flavor, but who knows. We'll get into some more worldwide whiskeys later on down the line. I might get into some more Japanese whiskeys, some more scotches, might jump into some Irish whiskeys. Y'all know what I'm here to tell y'all. Be safe but stay dangerous. Drink responsibly, and most importantly of all, body them bottles. Peace.
Bodies.